Welcome to another episode of the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. It is a Tuesday evening, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How are we doing today on this Tuesday evening? Football booming. Pretty interesting Saturday and Sunday. Thursday was interesting. It's a new week. We're heading into week 11. A lot of action happened this week. But I do want to start off on our first topic, which was a Sunday game, probably one of the craziest Sunday games I've seen in a very long time, which is indeed the Vikings and Bills game. What an absolute thriller. It looked like the
part, right? Then he fumbled it again right there on the goal line.
Yeah.
They should have won that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They should have won that game.
Absolutely.
They blew it in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And he was the main reason. I mean, he fumbled the ball there, and then he threw the interception right at the end. They were driving down.
Yeah.
They could have tied the game with a field goal. He went for the touchdown there, and he threw it right to the guy.
Yeah.
So, he has his issues. I think that, he played great last year.
Yes.
And he didn't make many mistakes. But the year before that, made a lot of mistakes. This year, he's starting to make more mistakes than he used to, than he did last year. I think it may. Who is the true Josh Allen? Is the true Josh Allen the clutch guy at the end that can drive him down the field and get the win, or is he somebody that gets him close and then makes a mistake?
It's funny you bring that up. What, just off the top of your head, let's see if you can think of what was the major change that happened in this offseason, what happened with the Bills staff. There was
they lost their offensive coordinator.
Who is Brian Daboll. So you take a look at Brian Daboll, his impact on Josh Allen, was able to tone it down.
Point.
Was able to sort of craft, because the first quarter, maybe first quarter and a half is all scripted plays. And then in the second half, and especially late in the fourth quarter, that's when the actual coaching comes into play, the situational coaching. And that's what Brian Daboll seems to be really good at, especially now. Dealing with a Daniel Jones type of skill set, which is
gotten a lot more
very
out of
low.
Daniel Jones than anybody else ever did. That's
and Josh Allen was very, very bad early in his career. Then he got Stephon Diggs, and Brian Daboll, their coaching, was able to develop Josh Allen. Now we're taking a look at post-Brian Daboll. Josh Allen does not look great. He's had 50% completion percentage in a number of games this year. It's been a pretty ugly season. Early on, they look extremely dominant.
I think in that game and at the end there, he panicked.
He did, yeah.
He did panic. He started running the ball, and he was taking terrible hits.
Yeah.
He took some terrible hits. He did get big yardage there. He got him down near where they could have tied the game and gone into overtime.
Right.
It would have been a better option than throwing it up for grabs and having it intercepted. Throwing it right to the guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. He needs to be coached better. He's missing Daboll.
Yeah, big time. I do want to talk about the Vikings, though, because the Vikings somehow came out of this game. It's insane. It seems like every Vikings game is the same, is the exact same.
They have Justin Jefferson.
They do have Justin Jefferson.
That's a difference maker.
It was a huge part about their win last night. Justin Jefferson absolutely went off in this game. I'll bring up his numbers right now. Justin Jefferson. What was it? This was Sunday afternoon. 10 catches for 193 yards and a touchdown. It's absurd. And he had that amazing one-handed catch, which people are comparing it to Odell's. And I would definitely say it's probably top 10 all time, maybe top 5 all time, just because of the situation behind it. You're talking about 4th and 18. The game is, if Justin Jefferson doesn't make that catch, the game's over. You're 4th and 18. You have to go for it. He comes out with that catch. The situation says that, yes, it is one of the all-time greatest catches, but to put it over Odell's, to sort of say, oh, yeah, that's the same as Odell's or near Odell's, I wouldn't necessarily go there. I think George Pickens, he had a better catch when it comes to the comparison between him and Odell, and we talked about that early on this year.
But that situation was very different.
Yeah, it was different. But I just think, I don't know, Kirk Cousins out-threw Josh Allen. He played better than Josh Allen.
Yeah, didn't he throw a couple interceptions, though?
Yeah, Josh Allen and Kirk Cousins both had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins threw for 357 yards. Josh Allen threw for 330. I was impressed with the Vikings. The Vikings were able to actually generate some pressure, which they had a little bit of trouble doing throughout the year. They've been pretty inconsistent. Another thing I took out of this is what I've been saying. The Bills don't have a consistent run game. The Bills right now, in this game, they combined for a little over 70 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Compared to 119 just from Dalvin Cook alone.
Dalvin Cook's a great running back.
He is a great running back.
He's very elusive.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
He picks his spots. He waits for the hole and he darts through it.
Right.
I like his running style. He's very, very good.
It's interesting, and this Bills team though has issues, has issues, especially late.
Yeah,
because
their record is now what, 6-3?
6-3.
Yeah.
So do you think
Patriots only one game behind for first place? They're in last place, only one game behind for first place.
Jets are
Plus, they've got them coming up, right? They play the Jets. Do they play the Bills after that? Is that the next game?
I could bring it up right now. No, Vikings then Bills.
Oh, well, that's tough.
It's
a tough stretch.
I told you these last 8 games are
really
brutal.
Might define their season right there. Those 3 games.
It could, but then you got the
Bills,
Cardinals,
Vikings.
the Bengals, and the Bills after that too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. But right now, Miami is in first. Actually, they're 7-3.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to find out, how they battle it out there.
Yeah.
Jets are a half game out of first place, which is interesting to say the least. But yeah, Jets and Bills right now. Bills are right now 3rd in the division. And it's funny, if the playoffs started right now, every single
the Bills
AFC
have dropped to 3rd.
Yeah, dropped to 3rd. Every AFC East team would be in if the playoffs started right now.
Really?
Every single team. Which is pretty interesting. I think I said they were.
Yeah, there's more parity in the league this year.
And the NFC East, 3 of the teams, Washington would be the only one missing out in the playoffs.
They're bouncing back now. They're 5-5.
Yeah, they're back at the 500, about 1.5 games out of first place under Dallas. This is a very weird season. But do you think right now? Do you think the Bills are in danger of losing the AFC East?
I do.
What do you think they could do to maybe rebound and improve?
They need to
this?
stop turning the ball over, right? And in the fourth quarter, they've got to be don't panic. If it's close, you just be deliberate, play your game. Stay relaxed and focus on executing the plays one at a time. I think that would help them some. And I agree with you that not having Dabo there as offensive coordinator is an issue for them.
I like when.
Also, the defense didn't play that great in this game, right? They gave up 33 points.
Yeah, no, their defense has been a little bit shaky.
Yeah, maybe. Von Miller, he's getting up there in age a little bit. Maybe he's wearing out a little bit as the year goes on.
I don't think so. I could still see the explosiveness. We saw that early in the season, how he just exploded against the Rams. But then we look at the Rams now; they're dead last in the NFC West. So it's questionable. But right now, so you think they are in danger of losing the AFC East? I don't. See, I'm taking a look at their schedule right now.
They're in 3rd place right now.
They are. I'm taking a look. They have a lot of chances to rebound because they're playing the Browns next. Then they're playing the Lions. They play the Bears, and then they play the Dolphins, Jets. Like all these teams, they have a chance to rebound and come back. They already lost to the Jets, so we'll see if they could beat them. Then they play the Patriots twice coming up. Can they beat them? Especially because if they can't develop a run game, Belichick would only need to stop Stephon Diggs, and maybe he'll have trouble doing that because Josh Allen's a mobile quarterback. Really, Josh Allen has been the Bills basically all season.
Yeah, the Patriots had trouble with the mobile quarterbacks,
which is going to be a big thing,
and particularly with Josh Allen last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
The playoff game and the game before that, they couldn't stop him.
Right, and also on the second part of that, I'll ask you.
He's a different offensive coordinator now.
That's true. That is true. He's thrown, I believe, 3 red zone interceptions only in the past couple games, and that leads the league. So only in the past couple games, you already are leading the league in a negative stat, which is not great.
Yeah.
The second part I want to talk to you about is, do you think after beating the Bills, are the Vikings legitimate Super Bowl contenders now? Because right now, they're second in the NFC right now. They're actually second in the entire NFL. They're 8-1. They're tied with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Are they legit contenders right now, or do you think they're just faking right now? Because they have Kirk Cousins.
I think that the win this on Sunday gives them a lot more credibility. They got to be up there in the power rankings now. They got to be up there pretty far.
I checked a couple power rankings. They're top 3.
Yeah, they're the top 3.
They're within the top 3.
Yeah. So if they're in the top 3 in the power rankings, you got to say that they have Super Bowl possibilities. Yeah.
Hey,
I do think their schedule's been a little light this year because Green Bay hasn't been good. They were good in this last game, but they haven't been good. They've lost a lot of games this year. They got beat by the Lions.
Yeah.
Right, and the Vikings play the Lions twice and the Bears twice. Their schedule's a little bit soft. I think. So, but beating the
Bills.
beating the Bills is a measurement that measures them, and I think that speaks pretty highly for them because the Bills are a good team, no doubt about it.
The Vikings are playing the Cowboys next week. So if they win
that's
that
another
game,
good. If they win that game, then
because the Cowboys have a great defense, especially in the air. So if they beat the Cowboys,
the Cowboys have a pretty good offense too.
Yeah.
This last week, man, they played well, right?
Dak Prescott could definitely play better. Dak Prescott, I think
look
Cooper
at
Rush.
CeeDee Lamb had 10 catches.
I think Cooper Rush could have won that
150
game.
yards.
Though those 2 interceptions cost them though, because the Packers scored touchdowns on each of those interceptions.
That's true.
So I think Cooper Rush could have won that game against the Packers. Truthfully, I genuinely think that Cooper Rush could have beaten the Packers because it was just bad. It was just all around very, very bad. But the next challenge really just after the Cowboys is Patriots maybe for the Vikings, Packers right now.
That game is in Minnesota.
Yeah. The only away games they have left are Lions, Packers, and Bears. Those are the only ones. So divisional games. Everyone else is at home. Giants, Colts, Jets, Patriots, Cowboys.
I think the Patriots have a tough time beating them.
It's going to be interesting to definitely see.
Take away Justin Jefferson. There's more than one threat there. You got to take away Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson.
And plus you have
and Kirk Cousins,
T.J. Hawkinson, and Adam Thielen left as receivers. So.
So they have multiple threats.
Their offense has definitely gotten better. T.J. Hawkinson, as soon as I said that, because Kirk Cousins was ranked almost dead last in stats when targeting tight ends, T.J. Hawkinson has made a great improvement to this offense. Let's see, he has 115 yards in 2 games with them. Like that's really good for a tight end. He also has no touchdowns. He's averaging 7.2 yards a catch. T.J. Hawkinson's making a difference. I mean, I would put him probably top 10 in tight ends anyway. So good for the Vikings. They I wouldn't say all in. I would definitely say they have a really good chance and legit contenders. Yeah,
possible.
Yeah, I think they are. It's just a question
they
of
haven't had much luck in the playoffs when they get to the playoffs. But this is a new team, new coach, new head coach. So maybe it's a fresh start for them.
It's going to be interesting. Let's move on to our next topic. We're talking about Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. This is the second win in a row against the Seahawks, and there were a lot of changes that I saw immediately from the jump of this game. The first thing, I actually got nervous at the very beginning because the Bucs could not move the ball at all in the first couple of drives. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be another disappointment. But lo and behold, rookie Rachaad White decided, you know what? Let's jumpstart this running game again. And he did that. He ran for 105 yards on 22 carries. Leonard Fournette pitched in pretty well, 14 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. We even saw Keyshawn Vaughn come in for a couple plays, rush for 2 yards. Brady threw for 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The defense was there. The running defense was there for the Buccaneers. So I want to ask what your takeaways were from this game.
I think the win the prior week gave them a new perspective, a new start, a spark, and they carried that over into this game in Germany. And Brady's undefeated internationally.
Yeah,
he's never lost a game playing outside the U.S.
It's 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0, and he played well. And 1 interception. Well, it happens. He hasn't thrown many interceptions this year.
He was 3 away from breaking Aaron Rodgers' most consecutive passes
without an interception. Just 3 away.
399 attempts without an interception.
The guy is still great. There's no doubt about it. He's having a very good year, actually, when you look at his stats. Win-wise, it hasn't been up to his standard, that's for sure. But now they seem to be on a roll.
Yeah.
2 wins in a row. And looking good, too. I mean, Seattle, not a bad team.
No.
Right? And Seattle couldn't do anything in the first half or the third quarter. They came back a little bit in the fourth quarter to make it a game.
Right.
But I thought the Bucs basically controlled the game most of the time, most of the way.
Their defense was surprising to me because they were able to stop Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, 10 carries for 17 yards. Geno Smith was their leading rusher, 4 carries, 22 yards. They only rushed for 39 yards total. That's insane for a team that's been giving up 150 yards rushing in the past few games. Over 200 against the Ravens. So their defense finally showed up and sort of it gave me hope that the Buccaneers rushing defense may be back a little bit.
Maybe their running game is coming back too, and they haven't got all their offensive line pieces back yet either.
Nope.
So maybe those guys that they brought in are starting to gel a little bit and play better together.
Could be.
Are they getting any of those guys back?
Ryan
offense?
Jensen won't come back until probably if they make the playoffs. He'll be around then when they get him back.
It'd be tough to put him in there and right then.
Yeah.
The other guy's been playing almost the whole year.
Yeah. They didn't have Luke Gedeke, who's had penalty issues. They had Nick Leverett in there, who seemed to do pretty well. Antoine Winfield came back, their Pro Bowl cornerback or defensive back. Mike Evans, Julio Jones finally showed up. He scored the first touchdown in NFL regular season Germany history. This game actually was the most viewed international game to date. 5.8 million viewers in the 9:30 Eastern game. The Seahawks seem to be sleepwalking because this game would have been 6:30 a.m. Eastern their time in Washington. And it showed. They looked like they were sleepwalking. 0 points, I believe. I think I have it here. It was bad. Yeah, they put up 0 points in the first half. It was 14-0. And then they able to score 3 in the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter they scored 13. I have questions about the Bucs offense, only putting up 21 points. First half they looked good. They were able to run the ball effectively. The defense showed up.
And they made the plays when they had to at the end to keep the ball away from the Seahawks.
Right. Brady played pretty well. He had a couple balls that could have gotten picked off. He'd had one that did get picked off. All in all, it was a pretty good game. Now, this team still has questions, like I've said. Their defense, the rushing defense, can it stay as consistent as it's been, at least against the Seahawks, who were probably top 5, top 3 rushing team in the NFL. Kenneth Walker, he's going for Rookie of the Year right now, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and they shut him down. 10 carries, 17 yards. It was impressive. It was very, very impressive. So it's just a question mark of can they keep the running game going? Because I think Leonard Fournette's been very, very upset the past couple of days and the past couple of weeks because Rachaad White has started to play a little bit more. And you know what? Might take a starting job, but it looks like next week Rachaad White will be the starting running back and Leonard Fournette will be the backup.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's deserved because with Leonard Fournette as your starter, dead last in rushing offense. That's where you guys are ranked. Yeah. So Rachaad White coming in here.
What year is Rachaad White?
He's a rookie.
He's a rookie, yeah? Where did he come from?
I could look that up for you right now. He came from a couple colleges. Nebraska, Kearney, Mount San Antonio JC, and Arizona State. Oh. Those were the 3 colleges he went to. Yeah, he's a rookie, 23 years old.
What round was he drafted, do you know?
Third round.
Third round, okay. Well,
91st overall pick.
He looked good. He looks like he's a pretty big back. Pretty
6'2", 210.
Yeah.
So he's more of a, even though he's 210 pounds, he's more of an elusive back. He's sort of a lightning bolt. And Leonard Fournette's more of the bull back, create the contact.
Yeah.
Even though it's funny we say that. 3rd and 1s, he seems to struggle to get 3rd and 1s. 3rd and shorts, he can't get a yard or 2. That's the weird thing. I think even Zeke, who I don't think is a very good running back that he used to be, he's fallen off every single year since like 2017 or 2018.
Played the last couple of games.
Yeah. He can get 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s. Leonard Fournette can't do that.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, maybe Brady should just quarterback sneak it.
He's tried that.
Pretty good luck doing that.
He's the best QB sneaker in NFL history, but he's tried that a couple times. He hasn't gotten it. There was one in the end zone, I think, in one of these games where he just couldn't get it, which is generally weird for him. But this team has a lot of question marks, and I still think it has a lot to improve. What do
they play next week?
They have a bye week. They're on their bye. After that, it's Cleveland.
Well, generally they play well coming out of the byes.
Yeah.
The first year Brady was there, they were undefeated after the bye.
Won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how these how the Bucs rebound after.
Is Deshaun Watson playing in that game?
No.
Yeah, he's coming back the following week.
He's playing the following week against his former team, the Texans, which that's going to be an interesting game. But last year, off the bye, in the regular season, They had a Week 9 bye. They lost 2 games in the regular season. They won their next. They had a Week 9 bye, so was that 8 games of wins?
They're definitely good after the bye.
Yeah. It's 7 wins, sorry. 7 wins. 2 losses. It's, like I said, a lot of question marks. They're still not in my Super Bowl bubble because they haven't answered a lot of those questions. Can they keep the running? If they have 3 consistent games where they could rush for, I want to say 70 yards, I would creep them back in. If Brady, plays as he has been, keeping it relatively safe, but taking, sometimes calculated risks. Julio Jones stays healthy. All that, they're going to start creeping in.
That's a big if.
Yeah, that's a massive if. He's been hurt for the past couple years. But I'm not going to put them in my Super Bowl bubble quite yet. Let's move on to last night's game, though, because what a game it was. Early on, it looked like the Commanders... Actually, early on, it looked like the Eagles were going to blow them out. Very quick touchdown in the first quarter. Heineke was not playing great, and then they started to get a bit of a roll. A couple turnovers, which the Eagles have been really good with, winning the turnover battle. A couple turnovers here. They had a fumble late in the game to seal the win, sort of, for the Commanders. They also had a roughing the passer. Heineke took a knee. You had one of the linebackers of the Eagles come in and absolutely deck Taylor Heineke after the play was dead. Flagged for it. That ended the game.
That was stupid.
Yeah. It's the right call. It's just you have to be a little bit smarter.
No, I understand that. I'm talking about the player.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I got to ask, with the way the Commanders played, 49 times they ran the ball.
Yeah.
Did the Commanders, because remember in the Super Bowl, the Bucs sort of exposed the Chiefs a little bit with that too high safety to stop Tyreek Hill in the big 75-yard touchdown. The following season, there weren't nowhere near as many 75-yard touchdown bombs, Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill. Did we see sort of the same thing exposing the Eagles' offense, maybe exposing how to beat them? What do you think about that?
Maybe a little bit, but I think basically the Eagles beat themselves. They turned the ball over 4 times, right?
I'm not too. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, I think it was 4. Yeah.
I know they had one interception and maybe I think they had a fumble.
Didn't they have a turnover on a special teams play?
There was a block punt, I believe. Yeah.
A block punt. Yeah. So I think that was part of it. The Eagles turned the ball over too much. 4 turnovers, right? 3
fumbles lost, 1 interception.
Pretty hard to win when you turn the ball over 4 times against a pretty good team, right? They're not a great team, the Commanders, but they're a pretty good team. They're getting better, I think. And the other thing is, as you mentioned, ball control, time of possession, right? What was the time of possession for the
40 minutes 24 seconds to 19 minutes 36 seconds.
There you go. So that may be the way to expose the Eagles are exposed if you can control the ball with the long drives and take time off the clock. You don't give Hurts that much time to be out there on the field to try to beat you.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that maybe they did expose him a little bit. I'm sure the Eagles are going to go back and look at that game and say our defense did not play that well. Right.
The offense didn't play that well either.
Yeah.
It was all around a pretty,
But they didn't give the offense. They didn't give the offense that many chances.
Oh right? Yeah, no, the offense barely got any
possession,
chances.
double for the Commanders.
Right.
Right.
I'm trying to look up. So I think I'll be able to get total plays. The Eagles had 47 total plays. The Commanders had 81.
Wow.
So you're almost doubling the amount of plays on the Commanders' side.
I said, beginning of the year that Tyler Heineke would be in there for Carson Wentz and that he was a decent quarterback, and he's proving it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although he lost the game for him last week, really. I mean, he threw that interception.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate. But he's a gamer, man. He gets excited over there, right? And they score or get a first down and stuff.
You could tell his teammates really, really like him.
Yeah.
It's a really good story. He went out and beat the Packers, beat the Colts, did lose to the Vikings, but the Vikings, I think they're legit right now.
He was in the game. They could have won.
It was 20-17
that made the difference.
And then you go out here and you beat the Eagles. Were able to control the clock. You ran it 49 times, and then Heineke, being smart, took a knee, got decked, drew the penalty to win the game.
Yeah.
The Eagles, it was a weird game plan. Super conservative on defense. Scary Terry McLaurin. A lot of crossing routes, wide open crossing routes.
He caught quite a few balls.
You had Curtis Samuel also on a couple drag routes and short routes that they just decided to eat up on because the Eagles were not, for some reason, they were playing super conservative on defense. The Eagles, the comparison between the previous game this year and this game last night was the pressures were nowhere near the amount they were last night. Last night, the Eagles could not get to the quarterback very well, did not cause a lot of turnovers. The Eagles actually ended up losing the turnover battle. It was a strange game. The Eagles usually dominate in the second quarter. They were down in the second quarter. Not really much domination going on there. It was a weird game, and I told you early on. It was very, very late in the second quarter. I said if they score a touchdown, I'm calling it for the Commanders. They scored a field goal, and they ended up just winning anyway. They did score on it was a fumble very, very late in the game. It was essentially 3 turnovers because it was the handoff at the very end of the game to try to make a Miami miracle happen in Philadelphia. They were able to fumble, recover it in the end zone. So in reality, take 6 away. It's really 26-21, but you know, it is what it is. The Eagles, they had 5.6 yards per play, which is not that bad. It's pretty good actually compared to the 4.1 Washington had. This all in all was just a weird game. Third
it's not
down,
a game they should have lost.
Absolutely not. Third down. The Commanders did really well on third, especially early on.
Yeah, early on, the first half, they got almost every third down.
They went 12-21 on the game, though. They went 1-1 on fourth down. It's crazy. The Eagles only had 8 third downs. 8.
Well, they weren't on the field most of the game.
Right. It was a very interesting thing. Do I think that the Commanders exposed the way to beat the Eagles? Yeah. It's strictly control the football. Control the time of possession. Because then that lowers the chance of the Eagles getting hyped over a big play or just dominating the game in total. It allows your team to sort of maintain it. So can another running team? I'll take a look at the Eagles' schedule right now. How many good running teams can do that? They play the Colts. Jonathan Taylor put up 125 yards.
47 yards.
Yeah, over 100 yards rushing. The first one since I think week 1 that he's done that. Can they control the clock? Maybe they can. Maybe they can't. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon had a great game last week against the Cowboys. Can they do something about that?
The Packers had a good game plan. They ran the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been saying that.
Aaron Rodgers, he didn't pass it that much.
He didn't. I think he had 20 pass attempts, something like that.
Big plays, though, when he passed it. 3
touchdowns to Christian Watson. So I said this early on. The 1-2 punch of A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones is your success plan. Like that's the way you're gonna win games. And it showed this past week. The Titans with Derrick Henry, can he run the ball well against this team? Saquon Barkley leads the league in rushing yards. Can he dominate against this Eagles team? The Bears, Justin Fields is going off. He's had over 100 yards rushing the past 4 games. The Cowboys, that's where you get a big question mark. Can Tony Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott really put up that dominant rushing game? Maybe. Saints, not so much, and then you play the Giants again. So if teams can control the clock, run the ball effectively, I don't know. The Commanders last year, they were the team to beat the 11-0 Steelers, and the Steelers fell off the face of the earth. Couldn't beat the Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. Can the Eagles fall? We saw the Cardinals last year. They were undefeated through, I think, 7 or 8 games. I can look it up right now. Through 7 games, they went 7-0. And they lost to the Packers. But are we seeing sort of the same thing?
I don't know. I think it's too early to tell. Who do the Eagles play next week?
The Colts.
They should win that game. If they don't win that game, then I would say maybe you're onto something.
Jeff Saturday lit a spark, it seems, underneath.
Well, he had Jonathan Taylor back. That made a difference, and he let Matt Ryan play. I don't know. That's what cost Reich his job, I think. He benched it. I'm benching him for the year. That was a mistake.
That was more, supposedly the rumor is that was more Jim Irsay, the owner, that benched Matt Ryan.
Oh, was it?
Because he was the one that also didn't like Carson Wentz and wanted him out of there. It seems like if there is a general manager or a head coach, it's just Jim Irsay making the decisions. So it's Jim Irsay is one of the more dictator owners in the league.
Well, Ryan was back and they won.
They did. It was a pretty good game.
And Taylor too.
Yeah. So I don't know. Can the Colts do damage against this Eagles team?
Yeah, we'll see.
Could
I
be.
would say the Eagles are touted to be go deep into the playoffs this year. because of their well-balanced team, good offense and a good defense. If the Colts can beat them, then I think there's a question mark there.
We do have breaking news just on baseball right now.
Oh, yeah?
Terry Francona won AL Manager of the Year.
That's a good choice. Excellent choice.
Some breaking news on the Harvey Hour.
Excellent choice.
We haven't gotten that since,
he deserved that. I mean, that team had good pitching, but not a lot of hitting.
Yeah.
And they went deep. They almost beat the Yankees. You know?
They did, yeah. So the last time we had breaking news on the show was when we used to record the Harvey Hours, which was Brady coming back. That was the last breaking news that we had.
Yeah.
I was taking a look at
that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, no, I'm taking a look at the point spread here. Indianapolis is only the Philadelphia is only 6.5 point favorites. I'd expect them to be at least 10 points.
I've got some breaking news.
What's up?
I'd like to say hi to our number one fan of the Harvey Hour, Nate's grandpa. He always watches our games. We love him, and he's the greatest guy. Very generous with his time, his kindness, and we're happy that he watches our show every week. Thanks, Grandpa.
Very much so. Did not expect you to do that. That was incredibly nice of you. I was not expecting that. But indeed, thank you. We appreciate consistent viewership and consistent feedback.
Particularly from Grandpa.
Yeah, absolutely. Means a lot. Means a lot. We are going to take our first break, though, but don't go anywhere. We will be discussing whether or not the Raiders should keep Josh McDaniels. What is the real reason for the Warriors' road struggle? They are 0-7 on the road. Just had a dominant, about 40-point victory last night against the Spurs. And we will do our Week 10 recap. All that and more right here on the Harvey Hour.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey.
Hi.
Let's jump right into our next topic. I teased it right before the break there. We're talking about the Golden State Warriors because they just came off of an NBA Finals championship against the Boston Celtics, and in the past 7 road games, they've won 0 of them. They are winless on the road. Last night, they did get a dominant victory at home against the Spurs. But we're taking a look at this road team. When it comes to the Warriors, it's been pitiful. Although there is one saving grace, but I want to ask you, what do you think the reason for the Warriors' poor road record is?
I think it's because they aren't playing as a team.
Okay.
Curry's playing well.
Yes.
And usually one other player in those 7 games. 1 or 2, you know. And They're not. I don't think they're as physical as they need to be. They're not getting generally being out rebounded, and I think they're too one-dimensional. Too much Curry. They need to spread the ball around more and more assists and more physical on the boards. I think that would help them a lot.
The rebounding is definitely a situation there, because against the Kings, the last road game against the
Where's
Kings.
Draymond Green, man? He's playing for a contract. He should be in there getting a lot of boards. I don't see his stats doing that great.
He's being Draymond Green. He's a triple single. That's what he does. Usually 8 rebounds, maybe 9 assists, and like 5 points.
9 assists? He hasn't had 9 assists.
I'm not saying per game, but
No, but I mean, his
generally.
assist is not averaging anywhere near that.
But in that Kings game, which was the 13th, so 2 days ago, Sabonis had 22 rebounds, which was absolutely
and 26
absurd.
points.
Yeah, him and De'Aaron Fox went off. But some of these, they on average,
Murray had a good game too.
he also had a
21
really good-
points.
Yes. But they average on these losses, they lose by about 10.5 points per game. That's how badly they've been playing.
Yeah, well, one of the games,
One of the games was
Curry
1
didn't
point.
play against Pelicans.
Yes,
so
that's true.
That was
They put it
were
backwards.
that game they lost by 9.
Yeah.
And then they went to overtime with the Magic the game before that, and Curry had 39, and Thompson had 27, Wiggins 15.
Yeah.
But the rebounding was
Rebounding is
pitiful. 35 to how many was it for the
which game?
The Magic game.
Magic game. Rebounding.
I think it was over 45 for the Magic, I think.
I have it here. 46
46
compared to
So,
35 for the
yeah.
Warriors.
So that's a big difference.
It has been and I said this very early on, because we talked about this and we said, are the Warriors, are they screwed a little bit? And we said it's a little too early to call. I said early on, this is looking a lot like where is it here? It's looking a lot like 2020, 2021 Warriors, where it was legitimately all Steph Curry, and they lost the play-in game to the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Curry averaged 32 points that year.
They're a better team than that, though, this year.
They should be.
Right? They didn't have
should
Wiggins.
be.
They didn't have Wiggins back then. They didn't have Jordan Poole. Right? They didn't have those guys then.
You're right.
Yeah.
They had Jordan Poole, but
They did. It must be his rookie year, right?
he didn't. He did better than that. He averaged 12 points and
He's a better player now than he was.
oh,
then.
significant. Yeah, and I'm surprised they didn't win Most Improved Player last year.
They have definitely a better team this year than they had back then. Curry was their go-to guy. They should be playing more team offense.
Yes.
And maybe those guys are just playing poorly, and that's why Curry's picking up the slack. They aren't that far out of most of these games.
No. Most of them they are close, but then you also had the blowout victory for the Suns, 134 to 105.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson got his first ejection of his career
Right.
against that Suns team.
There was 7 technicals in that game.
Yeah. It was crazy. You also had a very weird bad loss, 14-point loss against the Pistons, 128 to 114. That was weird. You lost to the Heat. You won a 5-game losing streak, and we said, not looking good right now. And this is looking a lot. I'm going to keep saying this until I see differently. Curry's averaging 31.5 points. He averaged 32 in that season where it was essentially all him. Shooting 42% in 2021 from the 3, 43 this year. From the field, total field goal percentage, 48%, 52 this year. It's looking a lot like it's only Curry. Wiggins the past couple of games has been the number 2 guy. Klay Thompson hasn't been there since the Achilles injury. He hasn't been there. ACL, Achilles injury, has been nowhere near the same player he's been. He had a couple games where he put up decent points, but lately it was just no-go. Last night was an interesting game. Warriors-Spurs. Warriors crushed him. Jordan Poole had what looked like a coming-out
Are
game.
the Spurs any good this year?
They started off second in the Western Conference. Now they've dropped all the way down to 9th. So, not too good. It was 132-95 victory. Curry put up 16 points in 27 minutes, but Jordan Poole put up 36 points in 29 minutes. So, even then, Steph Curry was the 3rd highest scorer with 16 points. Anthony Lamb, a newcomer for the Warriors, put up 17. So, even when Curry puts up 16 points, he's still top 3 in scoring on that team. It was thanks to
Yeah,
Jordan
but
Poole
it's
putting up
better
36.
balance. There's better balance there,
Yes.
right?
Every single player -1.
And how was it rebounding?
I was about to get to the rebound. Every single player -1 last night had more than 1 rebound. Had 2 rebounds or more.
Yeah.
Every single player
That's
besides
team
1.
play. It's much better.
That's. I mean,
I think the Warriors are going to be there at the end. They
should be.
They have the talent to be there. They just got to get it together on the road, right?
I don't know whether you'll take too much in this, but last night they did win by almost 40.
Yeah. Well,
But
they
on the offensive boards, they got out rebounded by 17.
Yeah.
The offensive boards, it seems to be a question mark right now. I've been saying this Warriors team is I have question marks a lot about it because it looks like most of the time it's Curry or bust most of the time. So it's whether or not they could just pick up the slack. Klay Thompson's dealing with an injury. He's I guess resting right now. He's still dealing with that Achilles and ACL treatment because he still has to deal with that. He's not 100%. He's basically all there though. Total rebounds this year, they're 24th in rebounding out of 30. Bottom 10 in the league.
Well, they got to fix that.
Their free throw attempts per game, because they do foul people a lot.
They don't get to the line.
They're 29th in the league in getting to the line.
Yeah, well, see, they need to be more aggressive in driving to the basket.
They apparently don't also shoot that much because 2-pointers, they're 27th. But they're number 1 in threes. So
they're number 1 in 3-pointers.
Number 1 in 3-point attempts.
That's Curry.
6th in 3-point percentage. So
okay,
it's a heavily 3% team.
You know what? They need to
3-point team.
get off the 3-point line and drive to the basket. They get to the line more often.
Yeah,
and get the other team in foul trouble a little bit.
They have the most personal fouls in the league. They're 30th in that category.
Wow.
They're fouling a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And we saw that.
They need to clean that up.
I don't think I have the game in front of me. There was one game where I think one of the teams dropped, I think we talked about this before. A team had like 21 free throws made. And they won by like what? I think they won by like 10. So you take away half of those and you have a tie game maybe. I forgot what game it was. I think we could check back to in a while, but This team it's right now 10th in the NBA. So as of right now, if the playoffs started right now, we're only 14 games in for most teams, but if the playoffs started right now, they'd be in the play-in tournament. And I guarantee you, if they play Sacramento, who they for some reason can't beat right now, or even if they play the Pelicans, who they lost to, although I think that was the game where they had all backups in, they might not be able to actually beat any of these teams.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the Celtics will like that. They don't want to face them again in the finals.
The Celtics, as of right now, are the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. Portland. I said Portland. I felt weird saying Portland makes it to the NBA Finals. They are also first in the West.
Wow.
So
how are the Lakers doing now?
14th. They're 3-10.
Jay, that's terrible. I
believe, if I'm not mistaken, all 3 wins have been when LeBron James has been out.
Really?
Yeah. Which I'm not looking too much into
Maybe
that.
they should trade him.
Let's say. They beat the Nets. LeBron was out. They beat the Pelicans in overtime. LeBron was in that game, so no, that's wrong. They won in overtime against the Pelicans. LeBron was in that game. And then in their second win. So LeBron has only missed one of their wins.
Yeah.
But 3-10 with the LeBron James team.
That's bad.
They were able to beat the Brooklyn Nets, but I don't think the Brooklyn Nets are anything too special, truthfully.
No.
116-103 win.
Kyrie Irving can come back pretty soon, right? He's done his 5-game suspension. What was their record during the 5-game suspension?
Let's see. The past 5 games for the Brooklyn Nets, I think they won a couple of these games. Let's see. Last 5 games, 3 wins, 2 losses.
Yeah.
They beat teams, the Hornets, the Knicks, and the Clippers. They lost to the Mavericks and the Lakers. The Lakers is the only bad loss.
Yeah.
Because he only lost to the Mavericks, and Luka right now is averaging the most points in the league. Luka's having a phenomenal
year, yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to bring up his averages because I'm shocked.
He's 30 points a game, right?
34.3 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists.
Wow. Per game.
He's
the MVP if he keeps
right now he's leading in MVP. it's impressive. I think the reason, like you said, I think it is, for the Warriors, it's chemistry, really. I genuinely think the Jordan Poole, Draymond Green situation rocked that entire organization a little bit.
I think you're right.
Especially with I think if it was sort of
I
swept
think it's
under the
team
rug.
chemistry. I also think
When it went public,
they have
that's when I think.
definitely have a good coaching staff, right?
Absolutely.
Steve Kerr and Mike Brown.
Mike
Brown.
Well, Mike Brown is actually funny enough, head coach of the Kings.
Oh, he left them. I didn't know that.
he beat Steve
beat him,
Kerr
yeah.
twice. So
So maybe the coaching is a little bit.
well, they still have
questionable.
Steve Kerr. Steve
I
Kerr
know
is
Steve
a
Kerr.
phenomenal coach.
Yeah.
But I think there's question marks right now. And I'm gonna put it up to, because Curry, I have no problem with Curry. Last year Curry had these slumps where, especially because he was going for the record, we'd see him shoot 15% from three on like 15 attempts. So we saw a little iffy thing from Curry last year. But when it mattered, Steph Curry, especially against the Celtics, was a game 4. I think he put up like 40 points against that team, and that leaped them all the way to win the finals. But this year, I'm getting serious flashbacks to 2020, 2021 Warriors. Curry was doing essentially everything for that team. So we'll see. The next topic I want to talk about, which is absolutely absurd when I saw this cross my feed. Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, son of Al Davis, former Raiders owner, he had some questionable comments in the public eye when he was asked about the Raiders situation this year. He said, "As far as Josh goes, I have no issues. I'm getting to know him a lot better. When you sign someone to a contract, don't you expect him to fulfill the contract? I like Josh. I think he's doing a fantastic job. You have to look at where we came from, where we're going."
Where they came from was a playoff team last year, and now they're in the cellar.
So I'm going to ask you.
I don't think that doesn't make any sense, right? They were a playoff team last year.
I'm going to ask
Now
you.
they're in the dumpster.
Let me ask a question. Do you think the Raiders should evaluate the head coaching position this year or going into next year? Do you think Josh McDaniels, do you think he deserves to be fired, or at least be on a very, very hot, blazing fire, dumping oil on the fire seat? What do you think the situation is for that? The Raiders?
I think he deserves a year, right? I mean, and maybe he should be able to start next year. It's his first season there, and the Raiders haven't been that great, right? In the past, they weren't that great under Gruden. He had some bad seasons with them when they first started, but they made a mistake. They should have hung on to that coach,
Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah, he's now a special teams coach for Green Bay, right?
Yep.
I mean, he could be. I'm surprised he didn't get a head coaching job. I bet he will next year. I bet that guy will have a head coaching job. He did a good job for them, right? And he walked into a very tough situation with the Gruden thing. And, he took them to the playoffs. So they should have hung on to him.
Yeah.
They're giving him another chance.
Something that's very
I'm
telling.
sure they're thinking about that now, why they didn't do that.
Yeah. Something that's very telling that I didn't know up until I saw the stat, I believe it was yesterday. The Raiders have 0. I think they're 0-6 in one-score games of the season. Last year, 7-2.
Yeah.
And that was mostly
Well,
under
their record
Rich.
is they won 2 games.
They won 2 games, 2-7.
2 games, 2-7. They're done.
Rich Bisaccia had most of those one-score games when he was coaching. Josh McDaniels coaching is 0-6 this year in one-score games. 0-6. So,
Well, they're not going to fire him this year. I think they'll let him start next year. If he starts out bad next year, then I think he's gone.
well, we're taking a look here. His last year in Denver, he went 3-9. If he loses 3 games and has a 2-10 record, they're gonna fire him because that would be his worst record so far.
Yeah,
He
well,
went 8-8 with Tim Tebow.
I don't think they're going to fire him this year.
Well, what do you think about? First, I want to ask you, what do you think Mark Davis is looking at? Because when we see the Raiders, we see
I don't know what he's
disappointment.
looking at. I don't know why he would say that. They're heading in the right direction. They went to playoffs last year, and now they're in the last place.
And the funny thing is,
They have one of the worst records in the league, right?
yeah,
2 wins.
yeah.
Is
it's
anyone
bad.
worse than them? Is there a 1-win team?
I was it? Houston.
Houston's a 1-win team.
And that's it. Yeah. Other teams have 3 or more wins.
So there's only one 2-win team.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny he says that he signed him to a contract, so why wouldn't he fulfill it? John Gruden was signed to a 10-year contract. He got sort of blackballed out of the league for his own reasons.
His own
reasons.
He did himself in.
Then he goes on to say, we had a coach, John Gruden, with a 10-year contract and a 10-year plan. He had to leave the team last year, so we did an exhaustive search and found the person we believe is going to bring the Raiders to greatness in the future.
Yeah, well.
I don't see it. I strictly do not see it because
they didn't give him a 10-year contract, right? What did they give McDaniel?
I think it's a 4-year contract.
4 years.
I think it's 4 year. I think $6 million or something like that. It's very.
He keeps
small.
going the way he's going. It's not going to be 4 years. That's for sure.
Devontae Adams had some comments saying that he doesn't believe all the team and the staff, that he doesn't believe that all of them have bought into the Raiders. And I can sort of see that because
he's been making noise about wanting to get out of there, right?
Right. He's already saying that if we're gonna stick to conservativeness and because I'm gonna get doubled every single time. If that's gonna be a problem, I don't even need to be here. So Devontae Adams is angry. Derek Carr was emotional in his post-game interview. Hey, I like Derek Carr. He seems like a genuinely nice person, but it just so happens that he's not playing great this year. He has a relatively low completion percentage. I'll bring it up right now. He's averaging 62.4% of his passes. Touchdown to interception ratio isn't bad. It's almost 3-1, 13 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So it's not terrible. It's just it's unfortunate. He's lost. He's right on. First of all, he's on a 3-game losing streak. Shut out against the Saints. Lost to the Jaguars. Lost to the Colts. The Colts. Jeff Saturday was coaching high school football before he got this coaching job. Goes out, gets hated on by the media. Coach, what's his name? Coach Cowher comes out and says this hiring was a disgrace to the coaching profession. Comes out and beats this team. Beats the Raiders, who he said earlier in this year on Twitter how the Raiders do not look like a great team. He goes out and beats them just to prove that, that's the case. There's a lot going on with this team. A lot going on. Let's move on to our weekly recap. Week 10 recap, where we recap all the games that happened this past week.
Yeah.
We had an okay week. Not too bad. So I believe, who's going to start? You will start this time.
Okay.
You are creeping up in the point spread, slowly getting to 500. We had 2 ties this week, 2 pushes, which I may have X'd them off accidentally, which I believe
Still
I did.
Disappointed, man.
Actually, no, we had no ties.
I had Green Bay, and then I switched it back to the Cowboys. That was a mistake, right?
Yeah.
The Colts, I can't get that right? I haven't gotten them right. Well, maybe once.
You got them
one
once.
time in 10 tries. That's 9 losses for me. and the Colts.
You might have had them early on, but I'm not too sure.
I enjoyed the Bucs Seahawks game. I was disappointed in Atlanta. I thought they would play better against Carolina. Carolina may be a little stronger team than I thought. They were horrible for a while there. They fired their coach, traded Christian McCaffrey, and then they started playing better. Right. Which is kind of weird. But they're maybe a little stronger team than I gave them credit for. I liked the Bucs Seahawks game. It was a fun game to watch, and I was happy that the Bucs won. I think they're on a roll now, and they usually come out good after the bye. Bye week, I picked the Titans right. I think the Titans are a tough team. They're going to make the playoffs. They're in their division. They'll definitely win that division. It's kind of a weaker division. And Miami, I got that right. The Cleveland, I don't give them much credit throughout the year here so far, and they got the point spread right there too. I thought the Saints would beat the Steelers. The Steelers, I don't know, maybe they're starting to find something. I guess I should have known when TJ Watt came back that would be a spark for the Steelers, and they won. And I don't know why the Saints keep starting Andy Dalton. That is a mystery to me.
It's looking like the reports coming out that Jameis Winston is sort of coming up to potentially be the starter next week.
They better hurry. The season's going to be over here pretty soon.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I thought Chicago would beat the Lions. It was a high-scoring game, 1-point win for the Lions. Boy, the Lions have a terrible defense, Their defensive coordinator, I don't know why they hang on to him. Their offense is pretty good, but the defense is awful. And Justin Fields had a great game, but couldn't pull it out. The Vikings, Bills, we talked about that extensively. Very exciting game. Vikings look to be for real. And the Bills, a few question marks, particularly with Josh Allen in the clutch. The Giants, they seem to be for real. I think the Giants, they're winning the games they should win. They made a bunch of mistakes in the first half of that game, but they bounced back, and I think they led the whole game. And Houston, Houston's a weak team. They gave them a run for it a little bit there for a while, but they won the game, got the point spread too. So I think they're for real. And the Kansas City, I mean, they're a tough team, man. They got great offense. Defense is pretty good. But Mahomes is having a great season. The Jaguars weren't much competition for them. We talked about the Raiders, how poor they are. I missed this one. I thought the Raiders would win. The Colts, maybe they found something with a new coach and getting their better players back. Jonathan Taylor is a great running back. He had a great game on Sunday. And Matt Ryan, maybe he's standing on the sidelines for a couple of games. He's found something and he'll play better. I thought, actually, initially I picked Green Bay and then I switched it to the Cowboys. That was a mistake. Green Bay trusted their running game and it paid off for them. Aaron Rodgers passed well because the running game opened up the pass for them. And that was a must-win for them, actually, right? If they wanted to have any hope for the playoffs. So we'll see how they do going forward here. The Cardinals beat the Rams. I got that right. The Rams are pretty bad this year. Offensive line stinks. Quarterback play is inconsistent. Cooper Kupp's been banged up. So
an update on Cooper Kupp. He was put on IR today.
Oh, yeah?
So he will be missing at least 4 games.
Oh, wow. So that'd be tough for them. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs now this year. Their record, they've only won 3 games, right?
3 games, yes.
Yeah. And the way they got beat by the Bucs last week, man, that took the wind out of their sails. You could see how shocked they were that they got beat. San Francisco, I think they're on their way, right? They beat the Chargers and covered the point spread. They got Jimmy G, he's a winning quarterback. They got McCaffrey, Deebo Samuels. They got a lot of weapons, and they have very good defense, excellent defense. And we talked a lot about the Eagles-Commanders game. The Commanders covered the point spread and beat the Eagles, and we exposed maybe a way to beat the Eagles, who, in a way, I thought beat themselves with 4 turnovers, but controlling the ball, keeping Jalen Hurts off the field is maybe a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least I got a winning record now.
Yeah.
Not by much, but if I can do better the rest of the way here, maybe I can get a respectable record.
Maybe. You always hope to.
I'd like to get the spread back to at least 500 too.
Yeah.
Hey, look at your record there. You're 30 games over 500.
Yeah, gotta love it. I agreed with a lot of what you actually said because you made some very, very valid points. Although the one difference we actually had was I think this is the only one that we disagreed on, which was the Bills game. I think that's the only one that's the only one we disagreed on off the quick eye. So that's the only one I really got to talk about. I mean, I guess I could also say that Derrick Henry in the past 5 games, 4 of them he's rushed for over 100 yards. He might be coming back into form a little bit. Tua right now looks like a top 3 quarterback. I had him at number 7 just due to his injury. He's looking really good right now. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill combined receiving yards they have more yards than 10 NFL teams at the moment. So look at that impact that he has. This Vikings game. We talked about this. This was block A for us. We opened up the show with this. Hey, the Bills have question marks. I've already said this. I've said this a lot. Bills have a lot of question marks, especially in their running game. I even called it. I called it. On that overtime, I literally said, watch. Josh Allen interception. Lo and behold, for some reason they were going on the end zone at the 20-yard line. I don't know why they're. A lot of teams do that. They decide, you know what? Let's go for the gusto and let's score a touchdown on the 20-yard line. You have 2 first downs you can get. Go to the 10, then it's first and goal, 10 more yards to go. But no, let's go for it. 20 yards. Let's just try to win the game here. Patrick Peterson picked him off twice. If I'm not mistaken, one of them was actually in the end zone, which is like a cardinal sin of quarterbacks. If you're going to throw it, if the play is dead, throw it away. Don't throw it into coverage. And he threw a red zone interception. Lamar did that, and it cost him the game. So that's the only really one I got to say. I was surprised that the Packers beat. Actually, I wasn't too surprised. I was a little bit surprised, but I wasn't too surprised that the Packers ended up beating the Cowboys because Aaron Rodgers seems like he has the Cowboys' number. Consistently, Aaron Rodgers has beaten the Cowboys, especially in big-time games like the playoffs. So I'm not too surprised there. For the Cardinals game, it was the battle of the backups. You had Colt McCoy and a little bit of Trace McSorley versus John Wolford, who obviously they're backups. They won't play well. Cooper Kupp's out on IR for 4 weeks. We'll see if they decide, you know what, we don't need Cooper Kupp. Or we'll see how valuable Cooper Kupp really is, because it seems like the the Rams offense has been Cooper Kupp or bust. So we'll see Matt Stafford come back. I'm not sure of what his injury was. It was a concussion. So we'll see if he, passes concussion protocol and plays next week. We will see. But Jalen Ramsey does not seem like the number one cornerback that people say he is.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think anywhere near it. So DeAndre Hopkins went to town on him this past week. So I've been saying this. I just don't think I don't think he's all that. I'm looking at this right now. Remember Jay Gruden?
Yes.
He is a consultant for the Rams.
Oh, yeah?
I did not know that. Quick little fact there. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And then the Commanders. Right now I'm 1-0 when I actually stick to my gut and say, hey, don't pick double-digit point spread favorites. Even though this sounds crazy, because the Eagles at this time were 8-0 and looked pretty damn good, and the Commanders didn't look that great. They were 4-5 at the time. I picked the plus 11, and right now let's bring up a point spread right now. I'll bring you on the screen because I want to get your opinion on this. Let's see. I'm going to put up the odds right now. As of today, the odds just dropped because we were waiting on Monday's result. We have one game that's double-digit point favorites, and that is the Ravens at -12.
Against who? Against who?
The Panthers and Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield starting.
Yes.
Why? The other guy's hurt?
PJ Walker's hurt.
Yeah. Now, you said, remember, we talked about Baker Mayfield. You said, well, I don't think he'll ever start in the NFL again. Well, that was 2 weeks ago, and now he's back in there starting.
But I asked you.
Plus, they put him in in the other game, and he played pretty well.
Yes.
So I hope he has a good game. I like that guy.
No, I like him too. But I'm taking a look here. Baker Mayfield has a 3-5 record versus the Ravens. 3-5 record.
Yeah. I don't know. What's the point spread again?
-12.
12. That's big. Yeah.
Are the Ravens going to cover? That's the question mark. Do you think right now, we don't need to make our picks, but do you think they're going to cover?
I don't.
You think it's Panthers?
I think that this is Baker Mayfield's opportunity. He's going to play much better. The defense is not that bad. That team is a little better than we thought. I think the Ravens might overestimate. They might underestimate them.
It seems like Steve Wilkes put a little bit of juice into that defense. They seem a little bit more dedicated.
Yeah. So I think that they'll beat that point spread. Yeah, we'll see if it stays there.
Yeah.
Right. It might shrink.
And because we don't do shows on Thursday, we should make our Thursday picks. Yeah. Titans at Green Bay. Green Bay -3. What are you picking?
Titans at Green Bay. Seems like Green Bay plays at home every game. Yeah. I'm taking Green Bay.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to do my research.
They have to win. They have to win now. They have to. They got that win against Dallas. It might be the same kind of situation as happened to the Bucs. They won that game in overtime, right? Wasn't that an overtime game?
The Bucs game?
Yeah, no, the Packers Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah, it was an overtime
Mike
game.
McCarthy went for 4-3 instead of kicking a field goal. Packers drive right down, score a touchdown. Or it might have been a field goal. I'm not too sure. It was a field goal. Yeah, 31-28. I'm gonna go with Titans +3 because they are currently the second rush defense team, and that was the key to the Packers' success this past week, was allowing Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to eat. I don't think they're going to be able to do it against these Titans. Hey, the Titans almost beat the Chiefs without getting a single first down in the second half.
That's true.
I'm going Titans +3. And that wraps up today's episode of the Harvey Hour. Great show. We thank you for watching. If you want to watch this episode back, or listen to the episode back, anchor.fm/the Harvey Hour. That's also where you can send in messages to the show. It's anchor.fm/the Harvey Hour/messages. Send a question in, and I'm sure if we have questions, we'll do it on the show as a topic. Thank you to all the listeners there. Thank you for all the watchers here on YouTube, of course. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. I believe I have social media here. That's our names, and this is our social media at Nathan T. Harvey 1 on Twitter and at the Harvey Hour on TikTok for clips and stuff like that. Opinions on Twitter right here, clips for the TikTok. But that does wrap it up. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the Harvey Hour. We will catch you guys Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Harvey Hour.
Bye.